When Charles Baker reflected on the months that had just passed, he was not modest about the gamble he made and the toll it took.
No man sacrifices absolutely all other prospects, mortgages his brains to one thing, gives up all thoughts of any other future, impairs his health, strength, and vitality, and suffers the nightmares and man-killing nerve strain, such as I have done, for any salaried compensation in money whatsoever. Charles Baker.
On July 31st, 1899, Baker gathered his wife, his daughter, his chief engineers, and a host of dignitaries at the temporary powerhouse at South 3rd Avenue and Main Street. At 8 o'clock, operators directed the waters of the Snoqualmie River into the penstocks. Falling 250 feet, the water shot through jets aimed at the double water wheels that spun the generators and induced a current. In the transformer house, operators closed the circuits, sending power over 38 miles of transmission lines to Seattle. Baker held his daughter Dorothy in his arms.
The child, with a look of wonder on her face, pressed the handle gently and smiled as a blue spark ran among the machinery. The lights burst forth brilliantly, and the words "Snoqualmie Light" appeared on the powerhouse just below. A flash of light, a whirring of machinery, and the expression of triumph in the faces of those who had the courage to embark on one of the greatest undertakings in the West. The great force of Snoqualmie Falls had been harnessed and was now subject to man's manipulation. Seattle Post-Intelligencer.
One can imagine the grin on Charles' face when this really began to work, and he could see that all of his energy and time and his father's resources were going to come to fruition.
Had to be a real inspirational moment. He went through the long, hard process of putting this place together, and the camaraderie that was developed between himself, all of his engineers and the crew.
From unbroken rock to pull the switch that lit up the lights on the side of the Snoqualmie Power Company in downtown Seattle in 16 months.
It's just amazing. And this had never been done before. This was the first power plant constructed underground.
He wanted this to be something that not only everyone would see as his accomplishment, but they would see as their accomplishment as Americans. You know, this is the sort of miracles we're working nowadays, folks. And it's not only useful, it's beautiful.
Civic leaders, businessmen, and locals were duly impressed, some calling it the eighth wonder of the world. Baker had done it. It was an unparalleled engineering marvel of its day, financed entirely with family money and completed in an improbable time frame of just 16 months. This made all the more impressive by the fact that no deaths occurred, nor even a major injury during its construction. Baker had every reason to be proud of his accomplishment, but wouldn't rest for long. The new technology had generated enough skepticism among Seattle residents that Baker had launched his own public relations efforts. Over the course of the plant's construction, he wrote numerous articles for magazines, newspapers, and scientific journals, and guided dozens of civic leaders on tours of the plant.
His vision was to put the power plant here and to show it off to the world. The grounds were manicured, the buildings were beautiful.
I think some of the architectural features that fascinated us include the attention to detail that you wouldn't ordinarily expect to see in an industrial site. The brick corbelling, arched windows of the classical revival style.
Charles Baker's plan was that the appearance of the grounds and the buildings would be part of what would draw people.
He wanted it to be the sort of place that people could come and see what the marvels of the new electric age were going to look like.
And was always willing to talk to anyone who came to visit the power plant.
This is the 1890s. The average person didn't realize what an effect this was going to have on their lives in a very short time.
While the architecture of the buildings created a beautiful setting, more importantly, they housed the essential elements needed to keep the plant operational.
The machine shop was built primarily as a support structure for the project to machine pieces that the plant would need.
I think a lot of that was because he wanted to make sure everything was right and was done well.
Besides Baker's adherence to quality, the machine shop produced parts that would have taken weeks to replace.
When things broke, they couldn't go somewhere to get a spare part. They had to have the facilities here to make whatever they needed.
Deep in the cavity, Baker's men began installing the third and fourth generator. Crews, meanwhile, continued to clear a 26-mile path through the forests between Renton and Tacoma and hung transmission lines to the city on Commencement Bay. With an eye to the future, Baker knew that he could gain more customers by extending the distance of electricity's reach. Compelled to push the technology even further, in November of 1900, Baker staged an unprecedented experiment. He redirected the circuits so that electricity ran from a generator in Snoqualmie to Seattle, back to Snoqualmie, then to Tacoma, and then back to a generator at Snoqualmie. Though the two units were only 10 feet apart, the current would have to travel a total distance of 154 miles. When Baker closed the final circuit, the 1,500-kilowatt generator began sending power to the other generator, effectively turning it into an electric motor. News of Baker's results traveled across the AP wire, where it was picked up by the American Institute of Electrical Engineers in New York and confirmed as the longest transmission of electrical energy in the world.
The transmission was an absolute scientific milestone for AC electronics.
The experiment had proved Baker's gamble on alternating current was a sound bet and opened the door for more widespread use of hydroelectricity.
During the past 20 years in the history of electrical engineering, there has not been a time during which the work on the Pacific Coast has not attracted the attention of scientific men. But the marvels of recent accomplishment are almost beyond the comprehension of the lay mind. The New York Times.
By March 1901, Baker finished Phase 1 of the first completely underground hydroelectric plant in the world. The power generated at Snoqualmie Falls was produced with such efficiency that it cost 1/3 to 1/2 of that from steam-powered plants. Baker was poised to enter the electric market, but soon found that delivering power and selling it to consumers were two different matters.